everybody, what is going on? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and this is the infrequent video series. It's kind of whenever it happens, it seems to happen, and today it's happening. It is Tuesday, it is May 8th, and I've got a handful of VR news stories that I wanted to get into today, so let's go ahead and get things started. All right, story number one is Samsung thinks that VR tech has failed to resonate with consumers. Oh my God, this is some shocking news. Basically, I guess it's time to give it up, folks. VR has not resonated with consumers, so why do I have this YouTube channel? Why are we bothering with this? I guess we might as well take our Oculus Rifts and our HTC Vives, and heck, even our Samsung Odysseys, right? We might as well take all of them and just throw them in the dumpster because VR is basically dead and buried. Why are we wasting our time? Okay, so really, what is going on here? So basically, this is a thread that I saw on the Vive subreddit, and I clicked on it, and it takes you to a website. The website is called The Korea Times, and basically, there is a section on the website. It is the Biz and Tech section of the website, and there is an article there, and the title of the article is Samsung/MS boosting partnership for mixed reality. Well, you know, I don't know. This doesn't sound as terrible as the Reddit post thread title made it seem like. So maybe this isn't as bad as I originally thought. So, so checking out the article, reading the article, looking at it a little bit. And the thing is, when you first take a look at this article, you're going to see some pictures right at the very beginning. It has a big picture of a lady, a big picture of a guy. They're both wearing a Samsung Odyssey headset, and they're both doing a relatively goofy VR pose. You know, we've seen it a million times. It's basically one leg is up in the air, two hands are holding a controller, and the headset is looking in a certain direction. It's kind of this VR pose that we've seen a million times, right? So they have this, nothing unusual, nothing abnormal about any of this, but you look at the caption for this picture, and the caption says something about, this is Samsung's Odyssey headset, which supports both virtual reality and augmented reality. No, it doesn't. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, but the Samsung Odyssey does not support augmented reality in any way, shape, or form. In fact, all of the Microsoft mixed reality headsets, although they're called mixed reality and Windows mixed reality and all this stuff, none of these headsets actually have anything to do with augmented reality whatsoever. So that's one of the things that you see when you first get into this article. So already you're kind of wondering about the source of this article. Do they really even know what they're talking about here? Because they're saying that this Samsung Odyssey supports augmented reality. It doesn't. So there's already bad information right off the get-go. But basically, you're probably going to hear some doom and gloom in regards to this article. And the reason you're going to hear this doom and gloom is because they have an unnamed source, supposedly a Samsung official, an unnamed Samsung official that had a quote, and the quote is a little bit on the negative side. I'll go ahead and read this quote. Here is what this unnamed Samsung official had to say. VR was once tapped as the next hot technology. However, despite sizable investment in it, the technology failed to resonate with consumers. Now, Samsung thinks the mixed reality market is a bit more promising than VR or AR in wider usability and adaptability. As we achieved in the phablet market, Samsung has stronger intent in the consumer market with the firm's new devices supporting mixed reality technology. And so basically the key takeaway here is this one specific statement. However, despite sizable investment in it, the technology failed to resonate with consumers. So that's kind of the doom and gloom you're going to see. Samsung says VR has failed to resonate with consumers. Basically, VR is an utter and complete failure. Let's give up on it now. Why did we waste all of our time? Why did we waste all of our resources? Can somebody give 2 years of my life back? You know, being involved with VR and all of this, it's a complete and utter waste because it's failed to resonate with consumers. Well, the thing that I would say here is it's failed to resonate with consumers so far. So far. You forgot 2 words there, buddy. So far. So far, it's failed to resonate with consumers. And the other thing I'll say too is it's not like we have this perfect VR product where everything is perfect about it. And despite it being perfect and despite everything being absolutely the way we want it to be, it still has bombed with consumers. That's not the situation. We don't have a perfect VR product. So, you know, yeah, maybe what we have right now has failed to resonate with consumers, but does that mean we just give up on VR altogether? We just pack our bags and say, well, we tried, you know, we gave it the old college try. It's over with. Pack our bags, let's go. I think that's a bit ridiculous here. And I think if you go back in time and you look at all the different technologies that have come out over the years, I can remember back to DVDs. Do you guys remember DVDs? So back in 1997, I bought a DVD player. 1997. This was the very first year that DVD players were available. I was working at a consumer electronics store very similar to Best Buy, not Best Buy, but something similar to that. And as an employee at this consumer electronics store way back in 1997, I did have an employee discount and I was able to buy an RCA DVD player. It cost $500. That was the price back then. I got it at an employee discount. I got it for like $350. Okay. And I was the first person in my entire neighborhood with a DVD player. In fact, in Sacramento, California at that time, there was one location in the entire city that rented DVD movies. And I had to drive like 30 minutes away from my house to this place. I would rent like 3 or 4 DVD movies for the weekend, watch them, and then drive back and return them all, you know, a couple days later. There was one place in all of town. Everybody I knew, all of my family members, everybody that knew me, nobody knew anything about DVD. They had no idea what the hell DVD was. Remember, this is 1997, right? Well, time has gone on. And DVD was incredibly successful. But if we gave up on it after 2 or 3 years, yeah, we would say DVD is a failure. It's failing to resonate with consumers. Consumers obviously don't give a damn about DVD. They're perfectly happy with VHS tapes. Why are we wasting our time here? So what I'm trying to say here, it is way too freaking early to give up on any kind of technology, especially when you haven't provided a product that has delivered everything flawlessly. You know, if you provide a product that delivers everything flawlessly and it still fails to resonate, that's a completely different story, but we haven't got there yet. So anyway, that is this Samsung story that is causing a little bit of ruffled feathers out there. Okay, so let's get into story number 2. Story number 2 is Samsung related, and in fact, it has to do with this very same article, because one of the headlines that you're also probably going to see is you're going to see that Samsung is showing off some super advanced AR VR headset late August in Berlin at the IFA show. You're probably going to see some stuff like this. Yes, this was in the article as well. And basically, again, like this article is saying, what this article is trying to say, if we really believe it, is it's trying to say that Samsung doesn't really believe that like dedicated VR headsets are the way to go, or even dedicated AR headsets, that this mixture, this hybrid is the way to go, and that they're gonna be showing off some new hybrid like devices in Berlin in very late August and very early September at the IFA trade show. And so that we have to look forward to this. So this is something that you're hearing about as well. And also the article mentioned throughout the article, again, it's mostly about Samsung and Microsoft's partnership, how their partnership is a little tenuous, but they're kind of working together on this Windows MR stuff. And one of the things I think about this is because they're saying that Samsung and Microsoft, they're continuing to work together here. And so a Samsung is going to be showing off these hybrid AR VR headset hybrids in late August, very early September at the IFA in Berlin. I think it's very possible this could be version 2 of Windows mixed reality. And it might not just be Samsung. We could be looking at Dell and Lenovo and Acer and all these different companies that have been part of the Windows mixed reality headset. We can basically be looking at phase 2 of Windows mixed reality. Remember, we just got these headsets last October. They've only been around for a year, not even a year really. And so this is, we're talking late August, early September. It'd be a little bit closer to a year. But maybe we're going to see version number 2. And maybe version number 2 is actually going to feature augmented reality, even though these things have been called Windows MR since the very beginning, although they have no MR capabilities whatsoever. Maybe generation 2 is actually going to have legitimate AR support. So we will look forward to that. That is coming up in late August and early September. Okay, so let's get to story number 3. Story number 3, this was announced on Monday that Oculus Research has been renamed Facebook Reality Labs. And so basically, this was announced, like I said, on Monday. You had Oculus chief scientist Michael Abrash talking about how they used to have Oculus Research, but now they're renaming it. It's Facebook Reality Labs. And the idea here is that they're going to tie everything that they were doing in the Oculus Research Labs with other internal skunk works type projects that are going on in Facebook itself. And so the idea here is, why have these things under a separate umbrella? Let's put all of these people together, because all of these people are basically working on future technologies that are going to benefit Facebook in general. They're also going to specifically benefit Oculus as well. But let's kind of put this all under one umbrella, have all these highly intelligent, motivated people with a very clear focus and mission, have all of them kind of working under the same roof. And then hopefully that will inspire some more collaboration between all these separate departments. And that basically what it will create is further and faster development. That's something Michael Abrash talked about. And I do actually have a quote from Chief Scientist Michael Abrash. Here's his quote. "We're just a year and a half along now after Connect 3. He's talking about these predictions, actually, that he made at Connect 3. And I would say those predictions are holding up well, Abrash says. In fact, the truth is that I probably undershot, thanks to Facebook's growing investment in FRL, which allows us to push the boundaries of what it takes to build great experiences further and faster. We're helping Oculus and all of Facebook create trailblazing AR and VR experiences from what's most affordable to leading edge." And so he's kind of talking about Facebook Reality Labs and kind of the ideas here. And he continues with another quote, again talking about Facebook Reality Labs. "It brings together a world-class research and development team of researchers, developers, and engineers with the shared goal of developing AR and VR across the spectrum." And he also mentioned in talking about current problems with AR and VR, they're all solvable. And they are going to get solved. And they're all solvable, and they're all going to get solved, is basically what he says with this final quote here. So that is Facebook Reality Labs. Again, there's not a lot of real information here. I mean, some people can kind of just say, well, this is basically just a name change. They're kind of moving things around and, they're kind of putting everybody in the same facility. But again, I do believe there is some kind of collaboration that can happen here. And you have a lot of highly intelligent, motivated people that have very specific ideas on how they're going to create this future and where they're going to go with this future. And it probably is a good idea to have all these people collaborate, have them bumping into each other, sharing their ideas, sharing their visions, and seeing what everybody else is working on and kind of collaborating on that, rather than having this Oculus research kind of being this isolated silo that is doing everything off on their own. So that is probably a good idea. I don't see any problems with that whatsoever. That is good news, no question about it. And I got to tell you, Mark, if you ever want to invite a few journalists or wannabe journalists to Facebook Reality Labs, I would love to get in there. It'd be kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You know, you're basically like, I'm imagining you step into the Facebook Reality Labs. It's like stepping 10 years into the future. You're seeing stuff that the regular public is probably not going to see for another 10 years. That would be super awesome. Okay, so my final story of the day, this is not going to be a long drawn out show, obviously. Final story of the day, Cool Painter VR is available today for PlayStation VR. You can pick this up for $19.99. So what is Cool Painter VR? Well, hey, we've had Tilt Brush for our Oculus Rifts. We've had Tilt Brush for the HTC Vive. We've had Tilt Brush for these Windows mixed reality headsets for a long time. Tilt Brush has been very established. But does the PlayStation VR have its own version of Tilt Brush? You know, what are you going to show your grandma when you bring your PlayStation VR over to her house for 4th of July or for whatever, you know, for Thanksgiving or whatever? What are you going to show grandma? There's no Tilt Brush program to show grandma. Well, my suggestion, put grandma in the shark cage. See what happens when grandma is in the shark cage. But now we get Cool Painter VR, and this is very much like Tilt Brush. It kind of has that design and that style, so this will allow you to get very creative. One thing I can remember though is back to PlayStation VR's launch, there was a demo for Harmonix Music VR. And part of the demo within Harmonix Music VR, there's this easel mode where you take two PlayStation VR, you take two Move controllers and you're painting and doing stuff, and it is almost exactly like Tilt Brush. It is very similar. It's kind of like Tilt Brush Junior. Not only that, the music is pumping and your little designs start shaking and vibrating to the music, very much as Tilt Brush does as well. So we kind of did have a Tilt Brush on PlayStation VR. It was just kind of hidden within Harmonix Music VR in the easel mode. But now with Cool Painter VR, this is more of a full-featured program with a lot of different abilities here that people can get into. The developer is singular people, and they've basically taken that a step further and created this more in-depth creation suite to do a lot of creative things, and you can save some of your creations on their website. You can take a USB thumbstick with your music, connect it to your PS4, and you can be listening to music as you're creating things. So there's lots of interesting things to do here. It is available now, $19.99. Haven't tried it myself personally, but it does look pretty cool. Okay, guys, that's basically going to wrap it up. Wanted to get some kind of video out there. Mission accomplished. So I will see everybody next time. Take it easy. Later.